So while we're putting our delicious pumpkin pie into the oven, here's a food for thought. Did you know that September was International Honey Month? With that in mind, I visited a local woman whose 100 hives kept her buzzing all day. It's hard to believe that these tiny and intimidating insects make such sweet nectar.
Hi girls, we're coming in.
The process of making honey is not easy. Everything is strategic and fragile, not to mention labor intensive. But for Diane, this is more than just her business. It's a passion that started as a coincidence, but now keeps her busy as a bee.
When we first moved on the place, we had a swarm come and visit, and didn't think much of it. It moved into the wall of our chicken coop, and I remember Dave having to drill in when we were putting power in the fall, and he ended up pulling this drill out, and there's all this honey dripping. And then about 7 years later, I was working with a woman at the library, and I said, oh, well, you know, your husband keeps bees, why don't you come out to Soda Creek, and you know, there's lots of flowers out here. And she said, sure. And so Mike Ombach brought about 8 hives out, and every time he went out into the bee yard to check them, I was sort of over his shoulder going, that's so cool.
Just the sheer number of bees here is enough to leave most people terrified. But for Diane, it's like music to her ears. She's absolutely in love with these creatures. I mean, isn't it obvious? She's not even wearing gloves or a full bee suit.
I don't wear gloves because I feel better the bees without them. You know, it is addictive. You fall in love with them. I mean, you just can't help. You just admire them. They're so clever, and they're so altruistic. You know what? Oh, I know. You get all kind of, you can get teary-eyed with bees, but I think it's the pleasure that you get from being attuned with your environment, with nature. It's just like yesterday, we're back at 144 Mile. Pulling honey, and I'm standing on the stack of hives, and there's this beautiful breeze going, and I'm smelling this honey, and the bees are, you know, sort of letting me do this, and I'm brushing it, and we're smoking it with sage from the nearby field, and I'm just going, oh my goodness, I get paid to do this, kind of.
Collecting in the field is only half the job. Next step is the honey house.
I'm pulling the harvest right now, so this is from 144 Mile Ranch along the San Jose River, where we were the other day with Betty, and we've got some from Carpenter Mountain Ranch, which is Allison and Roger Patnogg's place. We've got some from the home yard, which is just in front of the house here.
This queen bee makes sure nothing goes to waste as she tries to provide the best products for her customers.
Oh, it's a nice thick one. I love those. We've made a decision to keep our honey raw, not to pasteurize it, to, when we're extracting, keep it in from separate fields so that we can actually let our customers really taste the differences and appreciate how beautiful it is. Because really, the best honey you're ever going to taste is out in the field when you just slip it off a hive tool and have a little piece of comb. And if we can get as close to that to our customers that we can, then they're going to really appreciate just what a great product it is.
Diane's husband, Dave, never imagined her hobby to grow this big.
Well, it started out with a hobby with Diane. She just had a few bees in the yard on her own here, and it just sort of grew from there, and her hobby just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I kept getting pulled into it. And you know, I thought Diane would be quite happy tinkering around with 6 or 8 hives in her garden. At first, we didn't even have a place to really extract. The first few years, we did it in the carport behind the house, and then it moved into my shop for a while. And I was really happy to get it out of my shop.
The bee lover now has close to 100 hives all over the Cariboo, and for the future, she hopes to just be able to continue what she loves the most. Diane and Dave's Bee Happy Honey can be found in many local stores in downtown Williams Lake. For Go Williams Lake, I'm Christina Jung.